Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Were you here for yesterday? We talked about voluptuousness and being valiant, and I can't remember what the other one was, but you know, the whole thing is how do we show up for our lives, right? How do we show up for our lives? Well, today, it's all about being vocal, it's all about being vehement, and it's all about being voracious, right? I'm going to take you through all of this, weave it all together. It's my mess that we call the Daily Dish. That's right. The idea of being voracious, vehement, and vocal, I just threw them together, and wow, oh wow, how this whole thing kind of loops and cinches and creates a path. You know, it's one more of those bridge builders. You know, we talk about that gap that we all have. Everyone does. Right here to right here, there's a gap, and there's a bridge that needs to be built. Because you are here, you want to go here. You got to build your own bridge. No one's going to do it for you. There's no magic fairies. There's no fairy dust, by the way. There's no special pills or, you know, hoopla doopla, bippity boppity boop. There's none of that. We got to get in there and do the work. Do the work, right? Angie knows all about this. Angie does the work. Suzanne does the work. We do the work, don't we? Roll up your sleeves and let's show up. Roll up your sleeves and show up. And that's what James Clear said. Basically, the very first habit that you've got to master is showing up. That's fire right there. Show up, and guess what? The rest falls into place. Show up. Put on the shoes, right? Put on your dancing shoes. Put on whatever shoes that, you know, well, Marla calls it, you know, the flying shoes for her, you know, for doing your daily life. But my whole thing is put on your shoes. Put on the shoes for the job. Put on the shoes for the bike. Put on the shoes to go work out. Put on the shoes to run the dog. Put on the shoes to go out with your man and look decent, you know. Put on the shoes, right? We got to put on the shoes. Yes, we got to put on the shoes. And I'm saying today that part of all this of showing up for your life is putting on the shoes. Because when you're doing it, you're telling yourself, you know, back to the basics of Fly Lady and showing up and putting on your shoes so that you can take on your day. But when you're putting on your shoes, you are indeed telling your head, it's time to go to work. It's time to go on a date. It's time to work out. You know, this is what it does. This fixes things. This is the fixer. It isn't bippity boppity boo, but it's shoes, right? That's right, Janet. Hoopla doopla bippity boppity is what it says above the entrance to the Carousel of Crazy. Wow. Yeah, Sarah just said that. It's so true. Elizabeth said, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars over the years trying to get someone to build that bridge for me. You know what? That's the truth, though. We all have, haven't we? How many exercise gizmos and gadgets have you bought? Or magic pills and formulas and books and all the crap. You know, how about all that done for you food? You know, what's her name? Marie Osmond sells, you know, that stuff. Oh, Weight Watchers. Who's been to Weight Watchers where you're sitting there cringing and, you know, even though they do your weigh-in in private. I found the whole thing to be humiliating and embarrassing. And I wanted to opt out of all of that. And you know what? I'm giving you all right now passes to opt out from all of that, because that's not what it's about. It's about your vibrant life that you want to live, that we get to create. And the side effect, you know, the side effect is that you get this amazing life, and maybe you'll drop a few pounds along the way, and maybe the inflammation will start to dissipate, and maybe you'll start to feel good. You'll feel good. maybe less depressed, maybe more excited about what's next. That's vibrancy. And when we're vocal about that, when we're vehement and passionate about that, and we are voracious and hungry for it, it's ours. As long as we understand that we've got to get out the tools and we've got to build a bridge. Yeah, that's it, Nutrisystems. We've all done it all. Elizabeth, you're in good company. This is why we talk about this stuff, because it's nothing to, I'm not ashamed of it. I am, it's like the scales, I feel like Paul, on the road to Damascus, the scales fell from my eyes and I saw it for what it was. It was that day sitting in my Volvo, driving, eating all those M&Ms and the shards and the cutting up of my mouth, where I realized I was giving my power away to a bag of M&Ms, giving it away. They don't talk about that at Nutrisystems. They don't talk about that at Weight Watchers. That's not what it's about. Here's your plan. Count your points. Go PM a stick. Go do all these things. And the point is that we need to be in the place of being vocal about our lives. When we're vocal, it relates to the voice, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Noreen? It relates to the voice. It's singing. It's vocal. We hear it. And when we're vehement, what are we doing? We're showing strong feeling. I'm vehemently, opposed to fill in the blank. It's forceful. It's passionate. There's an intensity behind vehemency, isn't there? And what about voracious? Well, I'm a voracious reader. What does that mean? You're hungry, but we're all voracious for something, but if you look at just what the classic definition from your Webster's dictionary is, it's wanting or devouring great quantities of food. No thanks. No thanks. Step away from that one. We don't want to do that. That's what we've done before to cope. We've numbed ourselves out with that stuff, haven't we? Let's just face facts. We've all been addicted to something. We've all abused food. We've given food way too much power in our lives, and we've expected way too much from it. Is that going to protect us? Is that going to keep us feeling better? Is that going to do the things that we want it to? Of course not. But you know what replaces all of that? You know what helps us to become the women that we want to become? It's when we just start becoming voracious about and hungry for more in our lives. When we understand that vibrancy is what we want, not about the genes, not about the color of your lipstick, not about all these things that have occupied so much real estate in our heads for so long. And now we see this, it is road to Damascus experience. The scales have fallen off. So being voracious is accompanied by hunger. It's great, hunger and thirst even for knowledge, for freedom, for wisdom. When we have that and it's accompanied by passion, is there anything we can't do? That vision is sharp. It becomes extraordinarily vivid because the passion is there and because the hunger is there. And that hunger and that passion, boy, do they feed into everything that we want to do, don't they? That's the thing that I see. That's the thing that lights me up. When I see that, I just go like, ooh, yes. And Terry, yes, of course you want to become voracious for something other than food. This is the shift that we're talking about. And Leisha, that's brilliant. She says vibrancy doesn't have a weight range. No, ma'am, it does not. It does not. That's why we talked about voluptuousness yesterday and really embracing our voluptuousness because, God forbid, I don't want to be a part of the diet culture. I don't. I vehemently step away from that and start looking at these bridge building that we have to do. Because I want you to have the most vibrant life, the most delicious, yummy, delicious life ever that you created, that's custom just for you. You get one shot, one life, and it's not just about your bloody genes, it's about this stuff, a hunger for all these things. And what is that going to happen? You know what? You can't have this though if you're not vocal about your life. You can't be voracious about following after what it is that you think is just so important and wisdom and all of this yummy stuff that we're talking about, knowledge. reading. You can't do that if you don't have a voice in your life. You can't do this if you don't have passion about it, because then, mimsy mamsy, mediocre, lukewarm, spit you out of my mouth. You've heard that one before, right? I love that, Sarah. Did you see what she said? Just like Saul and Paul, my identity is changing. I'll be known as energetic and vibrant. Yes, you will. I would even say that right now. Not that you will be known, you are known as. That's right. Vanessa says it's time to live our best selves. It's right. Mary's here. Hi, Mary. It is. It is time. This is how we step into that vibrant life. And our vibrant, when we're making that, building that bridge, we're building that path to vibrancy. And we're always on our way to vibrancy as we create it. We're in it, we create it. It's an amazing thing that happens. You think we're going to look at vibrancy? On Saturday, it's all about vibrancy. What does that mean? How do we grasp it? The whole thing. It's going to be all about that. Tomorrow, of course, is Q&A. And listen, if you haven't sent in your questions, side note, send in your questions to support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday. Today's the last day, Thursday, to do that. So we take this hunger, we take this passion, and we apply them to your own life. Boom, just like that. But it's not going to work if you don't show up. And remember what James Clear said, the first habit is always showing up. Show up, put on the shoes, be the woman who's after her own life. Be the woman who has a voice in her own life. Be the woman who's made a decision for herself that nothing less than vibrancy will do. Nothing less. Nothing less. So showing up for yourself is easier to do when you're vocal, isn't it? When you're vehemently vocal, it's easier to do. This is how you find your voice, and it's born from that seed of hunger, voraciousness, and passion, vehemency, isn't it? You know this. You're the one who planted the seed. So how do we do this? I've got 4 things for you. And I've got one bonus that you're going to love, Sarah, because that was from yesterday, what you said. So I got 4 things. First of all, speak the truth, right? We have to speak the truth. And that's the same thing as living your truth and being in your truth and all this other stuff that millennials say all the time. But this is true. But we need to also remember, speak the truth in love, right? Not in the Southern condescending, bless your heart kind of love thing. That's just wicked, evil. It is. It's a put down. We all know it. That is, you can't get away with that. I want you to see from this, that when you speak the truth, you are setting yourself free. You're setting yourself free from all the preconceived stuff from the past, and you're living in the present when you speak the truth in love, because it takes courage to do this. And what is that? Valiance from yesterday, remember? When you're valiant, Prince Valiant, Princess Valiant, that's courageous. Speaking the truth is something that some of us shrink away from, and we pretend a lot. And pretending isn't living your life. It's just getting by, That doesn't work. That doesn't give you vibrancy in your life. That just gives you, it gives you a big show. Big shows don't work. It's fine for Broadway. It's not fine for your life. Number 2, be authentic. You have to be you. No one else was assigned that, just you. It's just yours. You're here on purpose for purpose. You know that. Fearfully and wonderfully made. You know that too. Then be authentically you. No one else can do you except you. No one else has your idiosyncrasies and your certain things. No one else has your cute nose. No one else has the way you laugh. No one else does. Being authentically yourself is a gift that you give to this world because you're showing up, right? We show up when we're authentic. Be unapologetic about who you are. You know what? And even if other people don't agree with your stance on something or what you are, whatever you proclaim to think, this is the way and this is that. And you know how we all get hung up on each other's religions and politics and all the other kind of garbage. Authentically being yourself is authentically being who you have been given to be by God himself. If he put breath into those nostrils of yours, then what do you think your obligation is to him? It's to show up and unapologetically, authentically live your life, your truth, in a way that's honoring, in a way that brings other people in a way that's loving. And you don't think that don't you think that if everybody did this, if we embrace this, don't you think that all this depression and all this, self-loathing and self-absorption and all this, don't you think that would all go away? Because we would see our place in this world. We would see how important it is that we do live our lives authentically. And you know what else? We don't have to pretend anymore. We don't have to pretend anymore. Who you are shows up in what you do, not just what you say. We know that. And so therefore, if you show up and you make a decision that you're going to be unapologetically yourself, the world is going to fall in love with you. I promise you. Because you're not playing for an audience. You're playing for one and one alone. Because he's the one who made you. On purpose, for purpose. You see how that all just fits together? This is the missing puzzle piece, I think, for a lot of us. We don't see this. We see that we're trying to people please, and we have our eyes on the world, not our eyes going up. So look up. Look up. That's where your approval comes from. That's where the love comes from. That's the anointing right there, You don't have to be religious, if you will, to understand that. But that's the place. This is the thing. Elizabeth said it. She's absolutely right. People pleasing is exhausting. You know why? Because it's not, you're playing a part. You're not being yourself. See how this all works? Isn't that freedom? This is freedom. And then the other thing is you got to be hungry about your vision. I mean, voracious about the vision that you have for your life. Because that's the thing that's creating the life that you want, isn't it? Isn't it? We need to redirect that wasted energy. Redirect it, because remember, what we focus on expands. What we dwell upon becomes our destiny. So think about all that wasted energy that's going on, stuff that we can't do a thing about, that we're worried about, and that we're reliving and doing all of that. What if we just redirected it? Can you imagine? Think about that for a minute. Think about how that whole thing just pop, pop, pop puts together. Because that's how we become, we understand the gift of today. And we understand how important putting our lives, putting our energy toward things that we want. This is what this is about. This is helping you to do this. It's a tool, a daily tool to do it. That's why these journals are so amazing, right? So the bonus is, Sarah, if you're still here, the bonus is you get velocity out of this whole thing, right? Velocity. Because what is velocity? It's the speed of something in a given direction. Which way are you going? You're going over the bridge, aren't you? Right? You're going over that bridge because you're building it. You're going on that path of vibrancy. And when you do that, guess what? That is the beginning of momentum. And we know what momentum is. That's secret sauce right there. Momentum creates its own momentum. Velocity starts it. Who knew we were going to do physics today, right? So you've got velocity here, speed going in one certain direction. My hope, my thought, my voracious heart is saying, are you building the bridge? You got your tools out? Are you creating this? Because when you're creating this and you get momentum going, you're unstoppable. Unstoppable. Can you imagine? Can you see yourself in that light? And when we have all of this together, and we just start doing this on a daily basis, little bit by little bit. Remember, it's ounce by ounce, drip by drip, drop by drop. It's just a little bit every single day. That's when we get to this magical place of consistency and success. And that is the magic sauce. It is. It's the fairy dust. It's the thing that sets this whole thing on fire. And we're going to do this. And then we've got the Hot Melt 30 that we get to practice all this stuff with. Can you feel all this? This is fire. This is amazing. This is how we do it. So, all that to say, if you're thirsty, if you're voracious, if you're vocal in your life, vehemently so, this is what you get to do. This is what you get to have, because you now are creating a new pathway for all of it. Isn't this so fun? I love this stuff. I hope that was fun for you. I really love this. V-Week, who knew? Who knew V-Week would be so much fun? But it's been a blast. Peace be with you. See you, bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.